My dear friends, every morning, millions of people around the world wake up, stumble into the kitchen, and reach for that one sacred thing that brings them to life, a cup of coffee. But recently, I met someone who made me think differently about it. An elderly gentleman, 78 years old, bright smile, sharp eyes, told me, Beta, I've started adding this new powder to my coffee. It's changed my life. Now I was curious. I thought, what powder is this? Some secret Ayurvedic mixture, collagen, protein. He smiled and said, No, no, nothing fancy. It's a spoonful of gratitude. And I laughed until I realized he wasn't joking. Lesson 1T. The real energy booster is gratitude, he told me. Earlier I used to start my day with caffeine. Now I start it with thankfulness. Every sip reminds him, I'm still here. I can still walk. I can still smile. I can still share my story. We think energy comes from coffee, but true energy comes from contentment. Because when the heart is light, even half a cup feels full. And when the heart is heavy, even 10 cups won't wake us up. Lesson 2. Sunny add kindness. Not just sugar, he went on. Earlier I used to add sugar to make it sweet. Now I add kindness. He shared how he spends his mornings calling one person a day just to say, How are you? Friends, the sweetness we add to life is not in teaspoons. It's in gestures. When we add kindness to our routine, life doesn't just taste better, it feels better. Lesson 3T. Stir in a little patience, he chuckled and said, and don't forget to stir with patience. Because no matter how much coffee powder or sugar you put, if you don't stir, it stays bitter at the bottom. Isn't that how life works too? We have the ingredients, opportunities, relationships, blessings, but we don't stir them with patience. We expect results immediately. But some flavors in life need time to dissolve. Lesson 40. Sip slowly. He looked at me and said softly, Earlier, I used to gulp my coffee while scrolling on my phone. Now I sit by the window, watch the sunrise, and sip slowly. In that moment, I realized something beautiful. We all chase the next moment and forget the one we're in. The best part of coffee is not the caffeine, it's the pause. And maybe the best part of life is the same. Conclusion. The secret ingredient. So, my friends, if you ever wonder what powder seniors are adding to their coffee that's making such a difference, it's not something from a jar. It's gratitude, kindness, patience, and mindfulness, mixed with a little humor and a lot of love. Because no supplement, no product, no powder can do what a peaceful mind can. So, tomorrow morning, when you make your coffee, before you reach for the sugar, before you reach for the creamer, reach for your heart and add a spoonful of gratitude. That, my friends, will truly be life changing. Gratitude is one of those simple things in life that we often overlook, yet it has the power to transform the way we live, think, and feel. Every morning when we wake up, most of us rush into the day with a list of things to do. We pick up our phone, check the time, scroll through messages, or worry about the next task waiting for us. But have we ever paused for a moment and said, Thank you? Not as a formality, but as a genuine feeling that we are alive, breathing, and blessed in ways we rarely notice. When we start our day with gratitude, we don't just change our mood, we change our entire perspective. Think about it. The moment you open your eyes and realize that you can see, that your heart is still beating, that you have a roof above your head, and someone somewhere who cares about you, your entire world already looks brighter. Gratitude doesn't remove life's problems, but it makes them smaller compared to the blessings we already have. It is not about ignoring challenges, it's about acknowledging the good that still exists despite them. There's a story of a man who complained every day about his old, noisy car. One morning, as he was driving, his car broke down completely. He sat there fuming, angry at his bad luck. But while waiting for help, he noticed a man on the roadside walking with crutches, struggling to cross. In that instant, he realized that even with a broken car, he was still blessed with legs that worked. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to focus on what's still working when some things are not. Many people start their day with coffee or tea, something to energize them physically. But gratitude is the caffeine for the soul. It wakes up our inner peace. It reminds us that we already have what we once prayed for. When we learn to start each morning with a grateful heart, we find energy not from caffeine, but from contentment. The body feels lighter, the mind feels calmer, and life feels more meaningful. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. That shift alone can change how we experience everything that follows. Even science supports this idea. Studies show that people who regularly practice gratitude experience lower stress, better sleep, and stronger immunity. But beyond science, there's a spiritual truth. When we appreciate what we have, we attract more of it. When we complain, we push it away. Gratitude opens the heart while complaints close it. The same world, the same circumstances can feel entirely different depending on which lens we choose to wear, the lens of lack or the lens of gratitude. Sometimes people say, but I don't have much to be grateful for right now. And that's where the real practice begins. Gratitude is not about waiting for big things to happen. It's about finding joy in small things. The taste of your morning coffee, the sound of birds outside your window, the simple comfort of sitting in peace. These are the things that make life rich. When we can be grateful for little things, we become capable of handling big things with grace. An old monk once said, "The happiest people are not those who have the best of everything, but those who make the best of what they have." Gratitude is that art of making the best of what's already in your hands. It doesn't cost a single rupee, yet it can make you feel wealthier than a millionaire. It's not an act you perform once, it's an attitude you carry throughout the day. Whether you're stuck in traffic, facing a tough meeting, or dealing with health issues, gratitude whispers, you still have something to smile about. In relationships too, gratitude works like magic. When we focus on what someone does right instead of what they do wrong, the bond grows stronger. Gratitude turns complaints into compliments and criticism into compassion. The same applies to self-love. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," gratitude teaches us to say, "I'm grateful for how far I've come." It reminds us that perfection is not the goal, appreciation is. When you cultivate gratitude, life doesn't necessarily become easier, but your heart becomes stronger. The outer world might remain the same, but the inner world changes completely. You start to see beauty where others see boredom. You find peace where others find problems. And slowly you realize that every breath, every sunrise, every moment is a gift. Gratitude becomes the powder that sweetens your morning coffee. Invisible, but powerfully transforming the flavor of your entire day. Kindness is one of the most underrated powers in the world today. We live in a time where people value success, money, and recognition, but rarely pause to value the power of being kind. Yet it is kindness that truly makes life meaningful. It doesn't demand grand gestures, it begins with the smallest of actions. A smile, a word of encouragement, or a moment of genuine listening. When we add kindness to our daily routine, just like we add sugar to our coffee, everything starts to taste sweeter. The situations that once seemed bitter begin to feel lighter, and the relationships that felt distant start to come closer. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, carries a ripple effect. It begins with one person and spreads silently from heart to heart. Think about how you feel when someone holds the door open for you, when a stranger lets you merge in traffic, or when someone simply says, "You look tired, take care." It's not about the size of the act, it's about the warmth behind it. Kindness doesn't just touch others, it transforms the giver too. It releases a sense of peace that no amount of achievement can match. It reminds us that being human is more important than being right, more fulfilling than being rich, and more satisfying than being successful. There's a beautiful story of a man who used to buy coffee every morning from the same cafe. He noticed that the lady behind the counter always looked tired and overworked. One day, instead of just grabbing his cup and rushing off, he looked at her and said, "Thank you for always starting my day with a smile." She was so surprised that she almost dropped the cup. That small sentence cost him nothing, but it changed her entire day. She later said it was the first time in months someone had appreciated her effort. That's the power of kindness. It doesn't take much, but it means a lot. When we think of kindness, we often think it's about helping others, but it's also about how we treat ourselves. Many people show compassion to others, but are cruel to themselves in their thoughts. They forgive everyone else but never forgive themselves. True kindness begins within. When we learn to be gentle with our own heart, it becomes easier to be gentle with the world. You can't pour from an empty cup, you can only give what you nurture inside. A kind heart towards oneself naturally spills kindness toward others. The problem today is not that people are unkind, it's that they're too busy to notice opportunities to be kind. Everyone is rushing, scrolling, chasing, and comparing. Kindness gets lost between notifications and deadlines. But when you consciously decide to slow down and look around, you'll see endless chances to sprinkle kindness. A phone call to check on an old friend, a compliment to a colleague, a few moments of patience with a child. These small actions don't make headlines, but they make humanity. Kindness is not a transaction, it's a state of being. It doesn't ask for recognition or reward. It flows naturally from those who are at peace with themselves. The moment you give it expecting something back, it loses its purity. The joy of kindness lies in the act itself, the smile on someone's face, the calm in your own heart. Sometimes, the people we're kind to may never remember what we did, but that's alright, because the point of kindness is not memory, it's meaning. There's also great strength in kindness. People often mistake being kind for being weak, but in truth, it takes far more courage to be kind in an unkind world. To respond with gentleness when provoked, to forgive when hurt, to remain calm when misunderstood. That's not weakness, that's mastery. It's easy to react, it's powerful to respond with compassion. Kindness is not about letting people walk over you, it's about walking with grace even when others stumble. Kindness also has a silent wisdom to it. When words fail, kindness speaks. It bridges gaps that logic can't. It can soften the hardest hearts and heal wounds that time alone cannot. You may not be able to solve everyone's problems, but you can choose not to add to their pain. That alone is an act of kindness. In a world that teaches competition, kindness teaches connection. It reminds us that we are all part of one human family, trying to make sense of life in our own ways. The beauty of kindness is that it doesn't depend on wealth, education, or status. Anyone can practice it. Whether you're a student, a senior, a business person, or a homemaker, you have the ability to make someone's day better with a single kind word or act. And when you do it regularly, something changes within you. You start to feel lighter, happier, more alive. Your mind begins to focus less on complaints and more on compassion. You realize that kindness isn't something you add to life. It becomes the flavor of your life itself. Patience is one of the most valuable, yet most neglected virtues in today's fast-moving world. Everyone wants everything instantly. Instant coffee, instant success, instant results. We have learned to expect speed in everything, but life doesn't always move at the pace we desire. It moves at the pace we need. Patience is not about waiting quietly. It's about how we behave while we wait. It's the ability to stay calm when things don't go according to our timeline, to trust the process when the outcome isn't clear, and to believe that what is meant for us will find us when the time is right. When we make coffee, we don't just pour water and drink it immediately. We wait for it to brew. The aroma, the flavor, the warmth, all of it takes time to develop. If we rush it, it doesn't taste the same. Life works in exactly the same way. The most beautiful things, relationships, careers, growth, healing, all take time. But in our impatience, we often give up right before something beautiful was about to happen. Patience teaches us to trust that the process, no matter how slow, is shaping us into who we are meant to become. Many people mistake patience for passivity, but it's not about doing nothing. It's about doing what's right and allowing time to do its part. You can plant a seed, water it, and nurture it, but you can't pull it out every day to see if it's growing. The roots grow silently, unseen, and only later does the fruit appear. Patience is the understanding that not all progress is visible. Sometimes life is working behind the scenes, preparing us for what's next, even when it seems nothing is happening. There's a story of a young man who wanted success quickly. He met a wise teacher and said, "I want to be successful soon. How long will it take?" The teacher replied, 10 years. The man said, "That's too long. What if I work twice as hard?" The teacher smiled and said, "Then it will take 20 years. The young man was confused. The teacher explained, "If you are in such a hurry, you'll spend all your time looking for shortcuts instead of learning. That will take you longer." It's a simple truth. Impatience often delays what patience could have delivered sooner. Patience also plays a crucial role in relationships. Sometimes we expect others to change, understand, or agree with us immediately. We forget that everyone has their own pace of learning, growing, and healing. When we lose patience, we lose connection. But when we choose to wait with compassion, we allow others the space to evolve. Just as we need time to fix our own flaws, others need time too. Relationships built on patience become stronger because they're not driven by pressure but by understanding. In moments of struggle, patience acts as an anchor. When life feels uncertain, patience whispers, "Hold on." It prevents us from making hasty decisions out of fear or frustration. It gives clarity where chaos wants to take over. Think of all the times we acted in impatience, said words we didn't mean, took steps we later regretted, or abandoned something that could have worked if we had waited just a little longer. Patience doesn't remove difficulties, but it helps us handle them with grace. It is like stirring sugar in a cup. If we stop too soon, it stays bitter, but when we keep stirring with patience, the sweetness spreads evenly. Patience is also deeply connected to faith. To be patient means to trust that the timing of the universe is wiser than our own. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. It might simply mean that we are being prepared, refined, and strengthened for when it does. Every delay carries a hidden lesson, every pause hides a purpose. We might not always understand it in the moment, but looking back, we often realize why things had to take the time they did. The lack of patience is one of the main reasons people live in constant stress. They want results immediately, forgetting that everything worthwhile grows slowly. A flower doesn't bloom all at once, it unfolds petal by petal. A tree doesn't become tall overnight, it stands through seasons of sun and rain. When we learn to align with nature's rhythm instead of fighting it, peace naturally enters our lives. Patience is not a punishment, it's preparation. Every waiting period is a time of building inner strength and wisdom. To be patient is to be peaceful. It's not a weakness to wait, it's a strength to endure without losing heart. It's easy to be calm when life goes our way, but true patience is tested when it doesn't. It's in those moments we grow the most. When we stir our experiences with patience, the bitterness of disappointment slowly dissolves, and the sweetness of understanding begins to rise. Life has its own timing, just like coffee needs time to brew. We just have to keep stirring, trusting that with patience, the flavor of every experience will eventually reveal its meaning. When we look back at the 3 lessons hidden in this simple idea of adding a special powder to our coffee, we realize that it was never about what goes into the cup, but what goes into our heart. Gratitude, kindness, and patience. These are not just moral values that sound good in theory, they are the ingredients that flavor the way we live each day. They don't just make coffee taste better, they make life itself richer, warmer, and more meaningful. They are invisible, yet they change everything we experience, everything we feel, and everything we become. Life, like coffee, is meant to be savored slowly. But we live in times where everything is fast, fast communication, fast food, fast entertainment, and fast success. We often wake up and rush through our mornings without truly waking up our hearts. We drink our coffee mechanically, scroll through messages, plan our day, and in doing so, we miss the quiet miracle of being alive. The powder that seniors add to their coffee is not a product from a jar. It is a reminder of the wisdom that time teaches us. It is the wisdom to slow down, to appreciate what we already have, to care for others, and to wait for life to unfold naturally instead of forcing it. Gratitude teaches us to start each day by noticing the blessings that are already present. When you open your eyes in the morning, you are already gifted with another chance to experience life. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring problems, but it gives you a new lens through which to see them. It turns ordinary moments into treasures. When you begin to see life this way, even your morning coffee becomes sacred. It becomes a ritual of thankfulness. The warmth of the cup in your hands reminds you that you are still here, that you still have time to grow, to love, to forgive, and to try again. Gratitude doesn't add more things to your life, it helps you see that what you have is already enough. Kindness adds sweetness to everything we do. It reminds us that we are all walking through challenges no one else can see. And a little bit of compassion can make the journey easier for someone else. It doesn't require money or status, just a heart that is willing to care. When you add kindness to your life, your world begins to soften. Conversations become warmer, relationships become stronger, and your own mind feels lighter. You begin to realize that it's not the big acts but the small gestures, a smile, a thank you, a patient response, that carry the most power. The world may sometimes seem harsh, but a single act of kindness can break through the hardest wall of indifference. When we choose kindness even when it's not easy, we become a light in someone else's darkness. Patience is what holds everything together. Gratitude keeps us humble, kindness keeps us connected, but patience keeps us grounded. It teaches us that not everything in life can be rushed. Some things take time, not because life is unfair, but because growth happens in silence. Just as coffee needs time to brew, our dreams are healing, and our understanding need time to mature. Impatience makes us restless, but patience fills us with trust. It tells us that even if the result isn't visible today, something good is still brewing beneath the surface. With patience, we stop forcing life to meet our schedule and instead begin to trust its rhythm. We realize that timing is not always in our control, but preparation is. Every delay carries a message, and every pause holds a hidden purpose. When gratitude, kindness, and patience come together, they create a peaceful inner balance that no external achievement can replace. Gratitude fills the heart with joy, kindness fills it with warmth, and patience fills it with peace. Together, they transform ordinary routines into meaningful rituals. When you add gratitude, kindness, and patience to your coffee, you are not just making a beverage. You are creating a moment of mindfulness. You are starting your day not with rush, but with reflection. There is something profound about the way seniors see life. They've lived long enough to understand that happiness doesn't come from how much we own, but from how much we appreciate, how gently we treat others, and how calmly we wait for life to unfold. When they add their special powder to coffee, they are adding the essence of experience. The understanding that the most important things are invisible, yet they make all the difference. We often look for solutions in external things, thinking a new habit, a supplement, or a product will change our life. But true change begins within. The real transformation happens not in the cup, but in the consciousness that holds it. There will be days when gratitude feels difficult because life seems unfair. There will be moments when kindness feels impossible because others may not return it. There will be times when patience feels unbearable because waiting hurts. But those are exactly the moments when we need these virtues the most. Gratitude during comfort is easy, gratitude during struggle is growth. Kindness when appreciated is easy, kindness when ignored is strength. Patience when things go smoothly is simple, patience when everything is uncertain is wisdom. The powder we add to our coffee each morning is symbolic. It reminds us that inner transformation is not about circumstances but about choice. When we live with gratitude, we stop comparing. When we live with kindness, we stop competing. When we live with patience, we stop complaining. These three habits don't just change our mornings, they change the way we experience the entire day. They make us more aware, more centered, and more alive. Life becomes less about chasing and more about cherishing. And perhaps this is the ultimate truth hidden in a simple cup of coffee, that happiness is not found in what we consume, but in the consciousness with which we consume it. A grateful heart will taste sweetness even in bitterness. A kind heart will see light even in darkness. A patient heart will find peace even in waiting. The powder seniors ad is not magic, it is mindfulness. It is the reminder that the secret to a fulfilling life is not speed, but presence, not abundance, but appreciation, not perfection, but peace. So, tomorrow, when you prepare your morning coffee, pause for a moment. Feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. Close your eyes and breathe in the aroma. Whisper a thank you for another day, for another chance, for another heartbeat. Think of one act of kindness you can share, one moment of patience you can practice. Then take a slow sip. Taste not just the coffee, but the life it represents. A life that, when brewed with gratitude, kindness, and patience, becomes deeply satisfying, profoundly peaceful, and truly worth living.